Okay, I'll give this a shot here. I want to talk about a process that I use to memorize song lyrics. So, just to be clear, this is memorizing song lyrics and not how to sing. I certainly need more work on how to sing, but one thing I am pretty good at is memorizing lyrics and not having to rely on teleprompters, tablets, or paper. And I think I've got a pretty good process on how to do that, and I'd like to share that with you. Specifically, why I think this is important for me is because I find reading lyrics while singing to be very distracting, especially when having to focus on playing the guitar or, lead the band through changes. So once I start relying on a tablet or a sheet of paper, it's just that one extra thing that's going through my head when I'm playing, and I just lose all that connection with the song and with the audience, and I just get hung up and locked on having to check back in with that piece of paper. So I just decided it's best just to try to learn the song, the lyrics from beginning to end. So this really works for me. It may not work for you, but I'll share the techniques for you. And I'm not any particular memory expert, so I suffer from the same memory issues that everyone else does. I forget names, dates, where I left my phone. But these specific techniques that I've sort of just learned organically, allow me to become one with the song lyrics, and the lyrics rarely escape me. I have a working repertoire of well over 150 songs, and I never rely on any kind of tablet or teleprompter or piece of paper. So let's get started. I mean, the process is really exactly what you would expect for the most part, drilling the lyrics over and over again. However, there's really some specific details which can't be missed, and these are what make the lyrics stick in your brain. So really, if you're going to follow this, just allow yourself time to work through this process exactly as I described it, and you really won't be let down. It might be a little bit more time and effort up front, but it's really worth it. So, and finally, I'm going to provide a link in the description to everything I'm talking about. If you want to go to my website and read exactly what I'm saying, you can have that as a handy reference. So the song I chose is, I hope I don't get any copyright flags on YouTube, but it's a song that my band covers frequently. It's a song called Isabel by Sam Johnston. And I'll just give you an example of the process that I use to learn the songs. So the first thing, and this is one of the details that is different than just learning lyrics over again, do not write down or look up the lyrics at all. So you don't want any paper reference, digital reference at all. If you begin with a printed copy of the lyrics, you're already starting off with the wrong mindset. So you'll have this crutch based on even the way you look at that piece of paper. That's kind of going to be ingrained in your head, and you're going to be searching for where you should be in your mind, even when that paper isn't handy anymore and you think that you've memorized it. So your goal is to really learn the words by listening and generating some visual cues in your mind. Now, finally, before we start, I really do understand that sometimes, you're under the gun and you have to learn a song really quickly, so you will start out with a sheet or a digital copy of the songs, of the lyrics, so you can read it, but eventually you've got to get off that as quick as possible if you want it to be ingrained in your head, okay? And then step number 2, wherever you are, make sure you have a good media player that you can really rewind and fast forward as quickly as possible and navigate, because you're going to be doing that a lot. Okay, so the first step is to start the song from the beginning, no matter how much space there is before the first words begin. Start it from the beginning, listen to it, and stop after the first line. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So I'm pressing play here. popped up to the first line. So whatever you got to do, learn that first line. Listen to it, listen to it, listen to it. Now, do your best to learn those words by listening to them. Even if you don't know exactly what he's saying, make up some gibberish for the words that you missed. We'll fix that later, but you don't want to rely on anything. So the first line was, man, I wish I was an author. Okay, so that's what I heard anyway. I've never actually looked up these words. This is just what I've heard. Now, I got it. Man, I wish I was an author. Now, back to the beginning. Press play. Don't go right back to where he starts singing. Back to the beginning. This space is very important for your memory because you've got this gap where your mind can kind of wander, right? So you want that space to be there while you remember that the first line is, man, I wish I was an author. So here we go again. Now this time I'm going to sing it with him. Man, I wish I was an author. Stop. Okay? Now, go back and do that again several times. Work on the phrasing, the timing, get this first line, tattooed in your brain, because this is going to set you up for the rest of the way. As long as you need to spend on that first, well, it was probably 20 seconds before that first line came in, but man, I wish I was an author. Okay? So then after you've gone through that for several times and you really feel like you're confident you got that line down, now we're going to press play from the beginning, and I'm going to save you spare you all this additional space, but you want to play it from the beginning. Go beyond the first line and go to the second line.
Man, I wish I was an author. Feel I got a lot to say.
Okay, that second line, I heard, feel I've got a lot to say. Okay, so we got that. Now, I think you know where I'm going here. Back to the beginning, very beginning, go, press it, press play, and then sing through the first two lines. Repeat that process until you've got this down. You get it right like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. Okay, now you're on your way. Okay, so slowly keep going on with the same process and keep slowly adding more lines. And remember, start from the very beginning of each song, or at least, if it's a huge intro, at least like 20 seconds before the lyrics come in. So that's very important, that dead time, test your memory. So now from here, we're on a roll, okay? Just keep going until you have maybe the first verse complete, okay? So then that could be 4, 5, 6 lines. So you can get from beginning to the end of the first verse, maybe 5 times in a row or whatever, without missing any of what you think are the words, and go. So when we get past there, now you're either at a chorus or a second verse. Now you can start bumping up your start time to maybe, the second or third line of the first verse, okay? And then start working on this section of the song from the second line of the first verse through the end of the second verse or something like that. And then you've got the second verse. So you're going to just keep rolling through that. Maybe you'll get to like, halfway through the song where you've got maybe a verse, a chorus, and then a second verse. But at that point, don't forget the past, okay? So every once in a while, you got to go back to the beginning and start from the very beginning, or at least that 20-second buffer, all the way through to wherever you've memorized, okay? So you're just going to be like looping down sections all the way until you get to the end. And at some point, you're going to be able to get from the beginning to the end. And again, this might take an hour. You might split it up into a couple days of sessions, whatever. It doesn't matter. You're going to get it really quickly, trust me. Now, without trying, you're going to notice that you're creating this internal connection with the lyrics because you haven't written anything down. You haven't read anything. You've literally listened to what they are saying in the song. So you've got this connection. You've got these visual, visual things in your mind that give you a feeling for the song. And these are precisely the cues that will never escape you, and they will lead to that, reliable connection. So at this point, after you've rolled through this, several times, you got it. You've gone through the beginning to the end. Now that's however long that takes. So from then on, I would say like the next couple of days after that, spend some time. You might rolling through the song, the process the same way, and just locking it in. Yeah, at that point, after like three or 4 days of just reviewing what you did that first day, maybe you'll miss a couple lines, but you'll get locked right back into it and get from beginning to the end. So after 3 or 4 days of just a little bit of time, it's there, it's ingrained. And at that point, then you can maybe tie up some loose ends. If there were a couple lines where you just sang some gibberish, go ahead and look it up and see what that word was that you couldn't hear him or her say. And now you know the word. You've got everything completely clear. And from that point on, I'm very confident that you are going to have this song memorized. Okay? So that's about it. Just a couple extra notes. Like I said, sometimes you might have already started with a printout because you had to learn a song quick, or maybe it's an original song yours where you wrote the lyrics down, and you've got to get away from that paper as soon as possible. So just follow the same line-by-line memorization process while referring to that printout as little as possible, and you'll get to the same end game as before. And then finally, when you perform, just relax. When you perform live, just relax, stay confident. You already put in the work. The lyrics will come to you through the connection that you made with the song. You won't always be perfect. Once in a while you might flub a line or two, but I guarantee you will bump right back into the flow because you have that connection with the song. So that's my process. I hope this helps you out. Again, look in the description for a printout, a document on exactly what I just talked about. Thanks again.